And welcome back, Nerds Paradise Podcast audience. We have for you now a review of a game recently come out, highly anticipated, Pokemon Black and White versions 2. So far, what are your initial impressions, gentlemen?
Well, considering where I am in the game, much further than you guys, I like it. I mean, the story really helps, especially if you do your system link to to your previous game. Really helps connect the games together.
Cool.
It helps continue the story that was first set up. And it helps cover a couple of the plot holes from the previous game as well.
That is available after the Elite Four is defeated, right?
What?
The memories part where you
can do it right from you start the game.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Cool. I'll have to check that out.
You haven't done it? Wow, you've probably missed a lot of scenes.
Like, for one, that part where you haven't gotten any of the end, because I already have one of N's Pokemon already. I have N's Clink.
Oh, cool.
I've got N's Darmanitan. I've got N's. Got a couple of other N's Pokemon as well.
Welcome to Crazy N's Pokemon Emporium, where we're just giving them away.
No. Essentially,
they don't give it away.
You find them in the wild.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they come.
It's almost like a shiny, but like
the same animation similar animation to a shiny when you appear it, and it says wild Pokemon appears, but with a question mark.
Okay.
And after you capture it, it just shows OTN.
Yeah, because you cannot, and it says you cannot give this Pokemon a nickname.
Okay.
I've got N Sigilif. I've got N Sigilif or Sigilif. Sorry.
Besides the fact that they were N's, is there anything particularly special about them?
Some of them have their hidden abilities.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense with the whole him bringing out their nature or potential.
Yeah,
but this doesn't unlock until you actually do the memory link and actually do the cutscene with him releasing his Pokemon in a flashback.
Okay.
Yeah. Which you see fairly early on anyways. Because you gotta Castelia, if you talk to the guy in the Pokemon Center. So you're missing out on a good portion of it, Harv.
I haven't seen it yet, but I can only imagine. Well, I got this legendary dragon type.
No, he doesn't.
I don't need you anymore.
No, basically...
Be free!
No. Basically, he regrets what he does, and he's like...
He released most of them before he caught Zekrom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Basically, he goes on to say... Pokemon should be free and not in their Pokeballs. So I must do that. And then his grunt comes up, like an underling, and says, I'll do that too. Wait, no, you need your Pokemon first. Come back again when our mission is finished. He's like, okay, runs away. Basically, that's the guy you talk to initiate the scene in the game.
Okay.
But yeah,
they got...
at all events, Pokemon all have perfect IVs.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are they set natures?
I'm not sure. I haven't done that research, but so far they've been pretty decent natures.
Cool. Interesting. Very interesting.
Indeed.
Yeah, so...
I mean, and you don't even need another DS to do it. You can do the memory link by hooking up your Black 2 game with your code, with your...
friend code?
No, not your friend code, but your... the code that you use to access Dreamworld.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm surprised you never did that. The memory link is fairly useful, and it gives a lot of backstory.
I haven't gone to that yet. I have just recently gotten to the 8th gym, and so I went through the part of the whole Frozen City thing.
But again, you could have done it right from the moment you started the game.
Yeah.
Moment you start a new game, and then afterwards, after your first save, go to System Link, and you do the memory link, and done.
Duly noted.
Yeah, that's kind of recommended, because that way it feels more like a sequel, because people will reference events from your previous game.
Yeah. They keep talking about the hero from 2 years ago.
Yeah. If you do the System Link, they will use the hero's name.
Okay.
Basically the one you beat the game with.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird for me, because it keeps saying Mark.
It keeps saying the same name.
Because, like, I named my person Mark in the game, too, so it's like, there's just one scene where you're fighting Bianca, and basically you're about to arrive in the old hometown of your character in Black and White.
Yeah.
Basically, you go in, and she goes, "We used to do this." Basically, it gives you this whole scene of how you started in Black and White, how they went to the grass, right?
The first steps.
1, 2, 3, jump. And then she basically does that with you in Black and White too, but says, "Ha ha ha, me, Sharon, and whatever character name you had in the game." Basically, I named myself Mark again in the other game, so it's basically Mark. Wait, is that me? No, Mark.
There's something I did with...
And without Memory Link, there's certain characters that you won't be able to battle. Like, you won't get a chance to battle Sharon with his actual team, not his normal Pokemon.
Oh, yeah.
You won't get a chance to battle Bianca. And a couple of other things as well. Oh, and without Memory Link, you can't catch N Zekrom.
Okay.
Because you need to do Memory Link to activate the event where N takes you to his castle.
Okay. Alright, so I got some stuff I want to talk about with the game I'm finding so far.
Yeah, so essentially, and you gotta first at least catch one of N's Pokemon to activate that, so you're gonna have to do a bit of backtracking first to get that.
Okay.
Well, he hasn't met N yet, so...
No, but you still, to get the access into N's castle so that you can battle him with Zekrom and then get Zekrom later, you have to first catch one of his Pokemon at least.
Yeah. Anyways, go on, Harv.
So, while I'm enjoying the game, I'm conflicted on some parts. Especially compared to not just Black and White, but some of the older games, bringing it back to... Okay, way more than... Like, first generation aside, like second and third generations, there are some features in Black and White too, and some ways that they go about things that make it feel like easy mode. It feels like it's very idiot-proof to me. Because very early on, while this is also a good thing, you have access to a lot of varied and useful types. After the first two routes that have like pretty much as normal types, and a dark type that is almost as useless as one of the early normals. You get fighting type.
Pearlion's not that useless, to be honest.
Pearl, for as long as I used it for, it didn't have a stab move. By then I had other stuff that was better. So I replaced that quickly. And, very soon you can catch a Riolu, which evolves into Lucario, which is pretty damn awesome. I ended up with Lucario at level 21 in my mid-adventure, and I'm like, okay, this is already pretty damn easy. You get, depending on your version, you can, in the next city, get either a Magby or an Elekid, which evolved to be pretty awesome and useful. And just all over the place. There's access to useful types very, very early, which is great because in old games that could really slow you down, and it would really impact what starter you chose. My decisions in the older games were heavily based on what was going to be available to me, so I'd usually go with a fire-type starter, because oftentimes, apart from in Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, where you can get Ponyta like after the second city or so, it took a long time to find a fire-type to catch.
Yeah. Of course, with Ponyta, in Diamond and Pearl at least, that was one of the few fire-types that was there.
Yeah.
You were really lacking with fire types in that game.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why Pearl really...
You kind of lack fire types in general.
Yeah.
Diamond and Pearl really lacked it, which was freaking hilarious considering that one of the Elite Fours was a fire user and only two of his Pokemon were fire type.
Oh, yeah.
In Diamond and Pearl. Thank God they fixed that in...
Platinum?
Platinum, yeah.
Yeah, I've only played Platinum rather than the other two. But, all over the place you have all these types. Not all of them are necessarily good Pokemon. I'll give you that. But there's a lot very early on, which is helpful, but it also seems very easy to me. It's like you don't have to fight as hard. And there are things that they go along and things are handed to you. One thing I was happy for, but also a little upset by, is as part of the story, you're handed a lucky egg. The item that you had to hunt for really hard in Generation 4, that you had a 5% chance of holding. Wait, yeah, 5% and the Oval Stone was 10. 5% chance, you get extra 1.5 times multiplier on your
Couldn't you get
EXP.
those, though, in, in Soul Silver and thing, just by, I think it was Pokeathlon, I think.
You can get it in Pokeathlon. I think you could also buy it at the, what was their Battle Point place?
No, they didn't have it in the Battle Frontier.
Really?
No, it was in Pokeathlon. I remember that.
You can get it in Pokeathlon as well.
Okay, I don't remember encountering that. But either way,
whoever does listen, fact check, please.
Yeah, feel free to comment and let us know. But my point is, in that you had to work for it, and in Soul Silver, I spent a while, and I got the right setup to find wild Pokemon that are holding items. I got Pokemon with the Frisk ability, and I kept resetting and getting it to a day when there was a Chansey Swarm. And I ended up with 10 of these goddamn lucky eggs. And then we went to Generation 5, through which transferring did not include items. And I was pissed. So, on one hand, I'm glad that I actually have this. On the other hand, the fact that I had to do absolutely nothing except progress through the story to get it leaves me feeling a little bit miffed.
Well, okay.
Yeah, but you only
get one.
Yes, you only get one.
Also, you gotta think about it like this way. Even though the whole Pokemon franchise is now being built by, like, people like you and me
who've grown up with it.
Who've grown up with it. You still have to open up to the little kids that are still playing. They don't know what a lucky egg is until they actually get one.
Yeah. I felt like sort of like that in the starting portion of the game. Did any of you guys feel like your hand was being held and you were being dragged along to learn these things?
Again, it's the whole thing about they're not necessarily catering to the older fans anymore. They're catering to the kids.
Yes, but they're catering to kids and assuming that they have no desire to try things for themselves. Almost everything is explained to you. They don't let you do any of this stuff.
Harvey, say hello to the current generation of gamers, where they want everything handed to them on a fucking silver platter. As I've mentioned before with the Guild Wars 2 forums, everybody on there is bitching about how hard it is to get Halloween items, and I'm just looking at it thinking, put some goddamn effort into it. You can get them.
Yes, there is a whole entitlement issue with some of the latest generation of gaming, but part of that is due to the fact that there are so many gaming companies that are bending to this, and that it's becoming normal. And
yeah, but if they don't bend to it, then they don't make money, because people then bitch about their games and give them low scores on the fan score sites.
That's not necessarily true. There are a lot of game companies that know how to show people how to do things in their game by teaching them. It's I want to reference right now Egoraptor in his Sequelitis series and how he talks about the Mega Man X games and the Mega Man games, how they actively teach you in-game how to perform functions instead of having someone come up and say, oh my god, you have to do this, blah blah blah.
Harvey, when was the last time they released a new Mega Man game?
A couple years ago.
Yeah. I wouldn't count those as modern games then. Those games were back then where they didn't hold your hand as much. Even Diamond and Pearl didn't hold your hand as much, and last Mega Man came way before those games as well.
Yeah, but...
So you're not using exactly the most modern of example here, are you?
No, it's not the most modern example, but it's a good example of how things can work. And the fact that it's been this much time and we haven't built upon that as a general sort of side for the industry disappoints me.
Because people are getting lazier.
Maybe. The fact... I'm also not impressed with the medals system, because it feels like a very watered down achievement system. Which
that's what it is. I mean, if somehow they actually gave you like an actual, if you gain enough medals, you get so and so kind of item at least that's actually for the game.
I think
that would at least be decent, and there's no reward even after 100 medals.
No, it's just for game completion. I mean, for those 100%er guys, I mean, it's something for them to also do.
Yeah, but
if it were mostly for
that's just completionist, but there's still no reward at the end of it.
If it were just for that, I wish it would be maybe a smaller amount for things you actually had to try to do. Because they start off, by the time I got to the first time someone hands you medals, I got like 8 of them for performing absolutely basic mundane functions.
They get a lot harder to get as you go on further. Like
besides, again, like I said, they're catering more to the kids than us. I mean...
Yeah, but Harv, have you seen some of the achievements for some games these days?
Yes, I understand that it's not just Pokemon that's doing this.
Even like the hardcore console games, there's certain achievements that are pretty much like, take your first freaking step. There's an achievement.
Yeah, there's.
I mean,
some of them Sorry, Mark.
Yeah, there you
go. Some of them, and I play Skyrim. Some of them are a little bit simplistic, but there's usually something to it. Like you get milestones for completing in the story. Okay, whatever. And I've been playing Torchlight 2 the past couple of days, and like for smaller things, but not absolutely basic, you get achievements as well. But it's not over the top.
I mean, look at, for instance, Guild Wars 2 again. You get an achievement point for killing something, which is basically what you're supposed to do in that game anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Or for gathering an item, for gathering, you get achievement.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
achievements have become quite watered down. The way Guild Wars 2 at least does is that, yes, you get these easily, but you don't get any credit for it unless you complete the whole list.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, going back to Pokemon though, I mean, again, like I said, take a look at it this way. You get a 4-year-old that hasn't played at Pokemon at all whatsoever, is just learning the game. Perfect way right there. There's the medals, the achievements, the whole explanation of everything. The holding their hand part. That's perfect for them. What I suggest, because I see it from your way too, is next time, maybe Nintendo should do a whole beginner mode or a expert mode where where people who are experts don't need to go get their hand babied, right?
Where it essentially turns off any of the quote unquote tutorials of the game.
I think
that's what challenge mode should have had a part of it, where if you start using challenge mode, it turns off all those things as well.
I think that should have been it too. I mean,
what I feel like
easy mode that you get through White should have been where it pretty much holds your hand. Sorry, Harvey, back to you.
Thank you. What I feel they could do to alleviate the problem of younger players without such a grasp trying to learn is have an optional tutorial for the start of the game. So before it gets started into the whole story part, they give you a scenario on how to walk through and how to do this. Just make it a small sandbox thing that lasts for like 15-20 minutes. And then they get started into the game. And if you don't want to do it, you can turn it off or you can skip through it. I feel like that would alleviate some of the problems. Let people practice and understand what they're getting into, and then treat the player base intelligently.
But you gotta think also, to a kid, what are you gonna do? Read read a little tutorial?
Oh no,
rather than just going through it all.
I'm not talking about like a text tutorial, like this is how this works. I want it to be interactive. I want it to be in a way that people are gonna understand by actually doing the things, and not just by someone saying, "Oh, run or walk by pressing this. If you press B, you'll run faster." And it's like run to this person and get there, and then they'll make you run.
It's basically how because I played the games. Harvest Moon did it basically, where they just tiny steps about how to do things. Like if it was a newer game, like let's say when Harvest Moon got into the DS, right? Mm-hmm. And how they had to, they were trying to use the farming skills with the touchscreen.
Yeah.
Basically, babying through with that, but that was it. If you needed any more, there's a little tutorial thing that basically gives you the choice. Do you know it or not? Yes, no. You know?
Okay.
But I see what you're saying. It's just we're looking at it more like how we're playing it, not
we're
as
veterans at this point. So
yeah,
we'll obviously get frustrated when somebody in the game is telling us things that we've known for years.
Mm-hmm. It's
no matter what, but you gotta remember that there's always somebody where this Pokemon game might be their first Pokemon game.
Yes, I understand that, and I can appreciate that.
Not all games want to give the option of skipping any of these tutorials because they don't want to give.
That's more coding.
Well, no, it's not just the coding. It's also the fact of they don't want to have a person that doesn't know anything what they're doing accidentally skip the tutorials, and then of course just
have
not know what they're doing and have a hard time. And of course, then there's the kids that could accidentally skip the tutorials and complain to their parents, and there's mothers that have all these fucking free time, but then start calling Nintendo and saying, "My kid doesn't know how to play this fucking game. Blah 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 blah. Blah. It's broken. Blah 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 blah." AKA soccer moms.
Again, I go back to my idea where it's before you start the game, there is an option where like you go to options or something, and it says hard mode. Beginner or expert. You choose either one.
Or even better, with the fact that the 3DS thing has just such a good memory, it should be able to read if you've played a previous game of the same series and say, okay, we'll just need it.
We'll just show you the stuff that is new into this game rather than the other one.
Yeah, like another thing they could have done is if you use Memory Link. Then it should have just said, okay, this person has played the previous game. They don't need any of this tutorial crap anymore. Mm-hmm. Goes past all that stuff.
Well, I also think of it, like, again, I give the devil its due sometimes. When they were creating Black and White 2, I don't think that was on their minds whatsoever. They just thought, it's another way to get another game out for the fans, also bring in new fans.
Yeah, I am still kind of conflicted because while they are trying to gear it more to attract the younger players, there are also so many deeper complexities in the game that people around our age, or at the very least our involvement in the game, would really understand and be able to utilize. Like the fact that they, not too long ago, before the 8th gym, I found one of the items that gives one of the power items that it speeds up your effort training stuff.
Yeah.
I found it. I got it for free. I didn't go to the battle place and have to spend points. I just got it straight up and found it. And so they're giving you this stuff. So they're obviously encouraging about things like EV training that they, even in the strategy guide that I got, they only barely touch upon it and they don't get into full details. It's something where you have to look it up. And so there's some acknowledgement of the older and or more involved players, but I feel like they're dropping us off a little bit on this one.
That's because we're the advanced players, right? Mm-hmm. We're more advanced than others. Like we'll EV train and everything, right? Mm-hmm. But a kid won't grasp that concept as of yet. Because for one, it's got a lot of math in it. So
more than likely, a kid that's playing Pokemon and gets that item and sees it increases that but decreases this,
they'll just say, "Oh, it increases attack instead of defense. I'll put that on."
Yeah, sees that. Well, but may of course screw themselves over by putting it on something that you don't want to decrease its speed for. Mm-hmm.
Again, like I said, I get this because. I get this saying from when I watch wrestling, because now wrestling has become a bit PG. They have our money. They're after our children's money. Okay?
Pretty much. They need to try and get the newer generation hooked now, because especially with, like you mentioned, the older gen games 2 and 3, they weren't really interested in getting too many newer players in, because we were still at that age where we were at the age where they wanted to influence us.
Yeah, we were the target audience.
We were the guinea pigs. We were the ones that started off.
And at this age, we're still the target audience, but they still want to target the younger audience so that they have an audience later on when we get to an age where
it doesn't
really hit us as hard.
Again, like I said, they already have our money. They're just after our children's money.
Yeah, they need to make sure that the children will buy their future games. Mm-hmm. And a child's not going to buy a game that it feels is too hard.
Well, unless you go down the line. Well, if you get older.
Again, look at the kids these days.
Yes, but also look at some of the games that are popular with kids, like
Mario.
Specific examples. Well, no, Mario's one of those games that's gotten a lot simpler over time. I don't know. I'm trying to place it, but Even look at...
I wouldn't say Final Fantasy.
With Zelda, released for the 3DS. It looks like a great kids game, but there are a lot of more in-depth things, a lot of exploration stuff that your average younger player may not look for.
Yeah, because they really re-released one of the most popular games of our generation for the kids. They released it so that we would spend our money on it because we wanted to replay it on a different console.
Yes, but
they didn't release it for the kids.
It's brightly colored, and it's starring at first a kid with a sword.
Yeah.
What's not going to attract?
Okay, that's a bad example of they already have our money.
No.
It's like they're gonna get our money again.
Yeah, no, that one was it was all for us. It was not for kids. That game was re-released for the people that played Ocarina of Time, and they want to replay it again from the start with the new features. It wasn't released for kids, especially for the fact that the 3DS itself is marketed for nobody under the age of 8 because of the 3D features itself.
Right, yeah.
Perhaps, yeah.
3DS, so you gotta be above, ideally, the age of 10 to play it without damaging your eyes.
That's gonna cause problems for whatever they do next for Pokemon then. If Black and White 2 are gonna be the last ones that are...
For 3DS?
For 3DS as well as previous DS.
Unless they remake, let's say, the 3rd gen. Again.
Well,
they've been talking about that a long time. I kind of wish they would, but I don't think
they should.
They may, just because it's hinting at it way too much, especially with the fact. The big thing for me is the fact that they reintroduced Dive as an HM, and in Black and White and Black and White 2, it's only used in one freaking spot. Why give something an HM that you only need to use it once in the game, essentially?
I suppose.
That's the biggest hint for it, because why re-release it as an HM and have it used once in the game when in the previous game it was an HM, you used it almost constantly.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is the biggest clue that, yeah, they're probably going to re-release the Gen 3 games.
Or they're just opening
as the first 3DS games.
Just Emerald, I think. I don't think they do Ruby and Sapphire. They probably just re-release Emerald.
Yeah.
Which was the better version.
Yeah. Or they will release Ruby and Sapphire, but as different names, but it'll essentially just be Emerald's story with a different flavoring for each game.
Aquamarine and I don't know another red gem. I'm sorry.
Well, no, it would probably be let's see, Ruby and Sapphire. It'd probably be Ruby Quartz and what's Sapphire?
Aquamarine.
No, Sapphire Aquamarine. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, back to the actual games themselves. Like, I'm way further than you guys. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've caught every available legendary in the game at this point. Again, I'm just training with all the trainers that I've skipped throughout my journey and just getting up all the Pokemon that I want to use later on.
I'm just transferring right now.
I did that. God, that took a while. Well, I had to transfer 256 Pokemon.
It makes it easier now that you can choose 3 at once.
Yeah, that's handy.
And you can access your box while within the trade.
Oh god.
That makes it so much easier.
Yeah. And I loved, and I was so happy that at least with Black to Black 2, you could use items.
That's good.
Because the stuff I transferred over, much appreciated.
Well, the thing is because you got 2 of the same gen. I'm guessing that was the problem. Because you got some items that were in 5 that aren't necessarily in 4.
Yes, but trading from 4 to 5 was only one directional. It was one way.
Well, same thing from 3 to 4.
Yes, but 3 to 4,
You could not do items either.
I thought there were items.
I think it's just. I think that was just a way of protecting the game, the integrity.
No, you could, because I transferred the TM for Brick Break into Gen 4 from Gen 3, either in Leaf Green or Emerald.
Huh? Weird.
TMs were detachable items back then, and you were able to transfer items up.
I think. Oh wait, that's probably the other reason too.
Yeah, that's probably one good reason why 4 to 5 they wouldn't let you transfer items, because
again the
TMs
items
were unlimited.
Not
and if you tried to transfer a TM, what would happen?
Well, you just either you already have the item, or suddenly have that forever, and that could make it a little broken.
Here's the thing.
Actually, no, because you got to transfer later on. Sorry, go ahead, Mark.
The thing is, again, like I said before, would you rather code it where you only do specific items, or would you just code it for everything so you don't have a problem?
I think you could do it with some specific cases.
Because that's just added work creates the game even longer.
Yes, but consider the idea that you are blocked from transferring Pokemon that know an HM move.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was for the fact that in Gen 5, HMs were not locked into badges. So if you transferred over a Pokemon that knew an HM move earlier than you were to get the HM, you could use that to get to places you shouldn't be getting at that point in the game.
No.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't transfer that early. By the time you were able to transfer up, you should have all those things. Not to mention, they had this feature from Gen 3 and Gen 4 as well. I specifically remember trying to bring stuff from my Fire Red.
Oh, no, I'm thinking of Black to Black 2, that you couldn't do that. You can't do that.
Black to Black 2, that makes sense.
Yeah, you can't do that in this one either. Because, if you did that, you could get a Pokemon with Surf way earlier than you should be getting it.
Well, oh yeah, because you can trade. Well, no, but with same generation games, you were able to trade if they had
no.
HM moves. Yeah, you just
not
couldn't
anymore.
Transfer up. Not anymore?
No.
Not currently.
Not currently. Try in your game. Let's see. You're not yet at the 8th gym, or you're about to get the 8th badge. Try transferring a Pokemon with Waterfall. Try transferring a Pokemon with Dive. Won't let you.
Okay.
Well, not transfer, but
again,
trade. It won't
like I said,
okay, so they've adjusted that.
If you have a game that's wanted by lots of people who are waiting for it, are you going to spend more time coding just for one thing, or increasing the release date, or just code it where you can't have anything at all?
Not to mention the fact that more coding means more data taken up on the space that's already there, meaning that you have to sacrifice content somewhere else.
Perhaps.
Because again, you have only a small amount of space within a chip.
Yeah, you'd rather go with the overarching solution which doesn't take much coding, than the nitpick solution, which would be taking quite a bit of code to do properly, without having to glitch up somehow. Mm-hmm. And there's already enough glitches in Pokemon games as it is.
Yeah, I feel like they could have a workaround for that. If the Pokemon is holding an item, transfers over, it's not holding it anymore, but whatever the station is that you're transferring to, like in this case the Dream Lab or whatever it is, the person there will be holding these items and you can pick them up. And if it's one that is not compatible for holding in the new one, it just doesn't transfer over.
Again, that's more coding.
It is, but it's not a ridiculous amount.
It's more than you think. Because you'd be having to deal with
first of all,
the transferring itself. Yeah. Then, of course, you'd have to deal with
the Wi-Fi.
The Wi-Fi itself. Then you'd have to deal with the game having to distinguish between items that it can and cannot accept, and then you have to deal with as well the way of how it has to then recode the item to work in the new game. Because some items between Gen 4 and 5, some of their functions changed as well. There were a few items that changed functions as well.
I can't recall any.
Not off the top of my head, but I know a few items. For instance, Lemonade. I know it's not a very thought about item.
Yeah.
But they changed how much HP it heals.
No, it's always been 80.
It's 100 now.
No, that's Moo Moo Milk.
Moo Moo Milk's 200.
Moo Moo Milk is 100. I'm pretty damn sure.
No, Moo Moo Milk is 100.
You sure?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hyper Potion gives you 200.
Because that's what helped me in the game for Hot Challenge. I just bought a lot of Moo Moo Milk.
Yeah. From Joy.
12 for 5 for 2,000. Sure.
Yeah, Joy Avenue is a really cool feature.
Yes.
A lot. Especially the fact that your interaction stuff can come from interacting with people on Dream World. So when you wake up your Pokemon, you've interacted with them, so you get a lot of more visitors to your...
Yes, that helps a lot.
Unfortunately, I never had a chance to choose anything because my brother went through it for me for some reason. He was like trying to fuck with my game. He's like, okay, I'll just get everyone from his joint avenue and just let him figure it out. I was like, fuck you. You took the fun out of everything.
I just wish they had more variety of what kind of shops were open in Joint Avenue, though. There's maybe a dozen most.
There are 8 different kinds, but they all expand as you increase.
They expand, but
yeah. For instance, the training one, if you keep investing toward it, it'll go from just increasing 1 level to 7.
Yeah, you can buy levels for your Pokemon with it, and you can. I think that one you can use specifically for buying EV training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's one for attack, one for
they have for
defense.
There's one of them that opens up the ability to take off a whole bunch of effort points that you've already accumulated, instead of trying to grow a shit ton of these berries from Generation 3.
What I like is when I was doing the happiness evolutions, was you did a lot of... There was a lot of masseuses.
Yeah.
I did like the fact that in this game, every ranger that you ended up facing gave you a berry.
Yeah.
Or multiple berries.
Where they're literally handing you a reward for doing what you're supposed to do.
I did like the one where basically every
you're
Pokemon...
always getting a reward for what you're supposed to do with money.
Yeah.
That's something they don't...
I think that's why Peter doesn't like it.
They never...
We're gonna get there in a minute.
They never explain in the games that you're gambling. That you're fighting your two people's Pokemon against each other. They're not just battling to improve and join the bond. They're getting money from each other.
Is that technically gambling?
Yeah, it's cockfighting.
Don't look at me, don't look at me, don't look at me, don't look at me.
Chance form, but it's a form of gambling. It's bets on who will win. You're just one of the people at stake.
Yeah, but I don't think cockfighting is the best example, because in cockfighting you're not allowed to bet for yourself.
Actually, being from the Philippines, yeah, you can.
So you can make a personal, lucrative career from it. Yeah. So,
but that's beyond the point, because that's just something that is transferred over for the RPG factor of it. Just if you win a battle, you get coin.
Yes.
But that was basically if you kill. Basically, you stunned or killed someone, you get to loot their money.
Pick their pockets. Something they've still never gone in and explained in this game is how money is exchanged, which I'm curious about. My personal theory is it's like a credit system on...
The Pokemon credit card!
Well, I personally believe that, especially in the newer games, you cannot start making money until after you get your Pokedex. I believe that the Pokedex counts as like some kind of money scanner thing.
Maybe, yeah, that would make sense.
At least for trainers. Or if not the Pokedex, then maybe the...
Well, yeah, because most trainers don't have Pokedex.
Yeah, if not the Pokedex, then maybe the...
X-Transceiver.
Yeah, the X-Transceiver.
It would really suck to have that thing stolen. Lose your cell phone and
you
your
probably need a password for that, right?
There is a side story in the games in this game where you can find somebody's lost X-Transceiver, and if you constantly call her or him if you're a girls get a guy, guys get a girl, whatever. You constantly call them. Eventually, you return the X-Transceiver to them, and eventually, when they really like you, they give you Pokemon.
Got an idea
with
for
like
a show. For a segment.
Okay.
The Untold Mysteries of Pokemon, where we just make up shit about like what hasn't been explained.
Have our theories on how this shit is.
We'll handle that next time. Right now, since we've been constantly going on a tangent.
Well, it's still revolved around Pokemon.
Yeah. But there's another tangent that me and Mark we should all discuss, actually.
Oh! Nerd Rage!
Well, it's not so much nerd rage as I laugh at the fact that they don't get the irony.
No, they don't. They still think that...
No, I like... Okay, so what we're talking about, or hinting at least here, is the fact that PETA, after... How long has it been since the first Pokemon game? 96?
94, technically.
Yeah.
Well, 94 in Japan.
Well, let's go 96. Yeah. PETA knows absolutely nothing about Japan.
Yeah. Well,
so let's say
they don't whaling.
96. 18 years. PETA finally decides to go after Pokemon. Years after the church has given up on it.
Mm.
Oh, our kids are playing it forever.
There are still some churches who are morally opposed to it, but people mostly just laugh
for
at that.
what?
Evolution.
No, all this shit, like the whole witchcraft, stupid shit.
No, that's Harry Potter.
Pokemon are demons.
No, it's within that.
No. There's one. I heard one. Pokemon were demons.
Yeah, there's that too.
And they're teaching kids to dominate everybody and everything. Stupid shit.
Anyways, back to PETA.
Back to PETA.
Yeah, speaking of stupid shit.
Yeah. PETA, who released Pokemon Black and Blue version online as Flash games, where essentially you play as Pikachu beating up trainers. You can just see this and know, okay, whoever designed this, I give props to the art style. They put in art nicely, but knew shit about Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
See, if this had been a game just released on Newgrounds, people would think it was funny.
Yeah.
But it's by PETA, it's just stupid.
It's laughs after...
Now here's where I get, what's the word I always use?
Batshit crazy?
Not crazy, it's just...
Rageaholic?
Ticked. Basically, you're teaching... First of all, what this game is trying to do is teach kids about animal cruelty. Okay.
While the animal itself is being cruel to humans, so what the game, I feel, is saying is, you can't be cruel to animals, but you can beat the shit out of other people.
Well, I get what they're trying to do here. It's just like, against animal cruelty, you're basically... What PETA thinks is the humans basically the trainers are cruel to Pokemon. Which is true in the fact of the crime syndicates that are in the game. But that's not the point of the issue here.
They never showed any of the crime syndicates in their Flash game.
Yeah, one of those crime syndicates is... How fitting can you get modeled after fucking PETA?
But let's not go there. That's the irony.
We're jumping the gun here.
We'll get there. I just love the fact that one of the things you find with Pikachu, of course, is Ash is as a stereotypical lion trainer thing along with a whip.
Okay.
And one of the lines of dialogue, of course, is "I never loved you" or anything else. And I'm just looking like that, dude.
Have you ever watched it?
Seen the anime?
Together forever.
Well, not even the bad stuff, like the real tear-jerking stuff, like where
he sacrifices himself for
Pikachu, or where he will almost willingly release Pikachu because he feels would be the right thing for him, or the Pokemon movie where he gets turned to friggin' stone and
because he wants them to stop fighting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now this is why
this is in no way showing that these people don't care about Pokemon. They do.
I mean, it's been ingrained maybe because we've watched and played it through our whole lives. Well, they've ingrained it to us that we should love our Pokemon. We shouldn't mistreat them. We shouldn't do anything bad with them.
Look at the Nuzlocke challenge. God damn it! Try playing that and having to release something that you've been with for so long because it accidentally fainted on you.
It fucking sucks. I've had one. I was playing one for a while, and I had my Cloyster that had been with me for a long fucking time, and it was going to faint, so I was trying to switch it, and this fucking Raticate used Pursuit while I was switching, so it fainted, and it was my only good water type, and I was pissed off. And then I had to release it, and it didn't work. I thought it was a miracle. It turns out it knew an HM move, so I couldn't release it.
Wait, what?
It's something that in the old games, say for a water type that has Surf, if it knows Surf, you try to release it, it won't. It says that it's concerned about you. Because they're worried that you won't be able to get another water Pokemon that can use Surf in this instance. And so you can't progress in the game and you're stuck and you're fucked.
Do you really think that's what it's for?
I've looked up things online and that's pretty much the
As far as I know, the reason why it happens is if it's a friendship score is maxed out if you try and release it.
No. I looked into it because I didn't understand. I'd never seen that happen before.
Oh,
it's so you don't fuck yourself up and put yourself in a shitty situation.
Interesting.
Anyways,
You got lucky then.
I mean, I understand the whole cockfighting thing, but in all seriousness, I mean...
All fairness, most people that do cockfights have absolutely no feeling for the chicken that they're using.
Exactly. And I should know, personally. I went back to the Philippines and actually... There's a cockfight arena near my grandfather's old place.
You made some good summer money there.
No, I didn't. I never wanted to step foot in that. They're wondering why. I was like, I grew up in Canada, you should know why. Anyways, but, look, they're not killing each other. They faint.
And, yes, and there's no trainer in the anime or whatever who will let their Pokemon fight after being hurt badly. They will always return to their Pokeballs. Always make sure that after that, they get healed.
Think of it this way, and how sports is conducted here. If you get injured in a sport, you are forced to not compete anymore.
Until you are healed.
Yeah, until you are healed. They're not going to keep making you go. Unless it was back then. And
yeah, but even then... that was mostly people were crazy.
The Olympics and... Yeah.
But anyways, back on topic.
Yeah, I mean... They don't have no idea what Pokemon is. That's the thing. I mean, we go back to it. I mean, it's true.
They don't. They have absolutely no clue whatsoever. And they're attacking it without doing any research. But that's just... No. That's the common practice for PETA.
What's even worse is... The way they're doing it is... And I feel for any children or child that sees this. Or even tries to attempt to play this.
It's fear-mongering.
Exactly. Well, you're basically scaring these children into thinking your way, and that's completely wrong.
Yeah, and you're disturbing these kids and possibly scarring them.
Sure, if it's the reality of the situation, but there's other ways of doing it.
Yeah,
you don't take something that a kid loves and basically smashing everything they believed in with what they love.
Yeah, and making them feel like a piece of shit for loving it.
It's the freaking equivalent of going up to a kid with an ice cream cone and bashing the ice cream cone out of their hands.
Mm-hmm. And calling them a terrible person for eating ice cream.
Yeah. And trust me when I say this, but PETA is not an organization you want to fill yourself with whatsoever. They are an awful, awful organization that prefers animals to be dead than to be quote unquote enslaved. They euthanize animals that they feel have a chance of being returned to their owners.
I mean,
no, really. Like there was a time where PETA
they were killing more animals than they were adopting out.
Yeah, they were killing these animals because a lot of time they're proper owners. Like the animals that they stole out of like labs and stuff, their proper owners would try and sue PETA to get the animals back because they knew PETA stole it. Mm-hmm. They would kill these animals.
It's fucking disgusting.
No. What's worse is a lot of the time they weren't euthanizing the proper way. They were snapping these animals' necks. So they weren't using like the needle or anything. A lot of the time they just snap these dogs' necks just so that these owners wouldn't have them because it's better dead than otherwise by their views.
Some fucked up shit.
Yeah.
That's the whole darkness of Team Plasma.
Yeah. PETA owns huge warehouses that are stored just for animal carcasses.
Mm-hmm. Now, here's the thing is...
It's why anytime I see anyone, like I know on Facebook or anything, post something about PETA or they think they're doing anything good, and I just go off on them. I don't care who it is, if it's a coworker or someone I know from high school or something, I just go off on them because do your goddamn research before you support a group. Because they're not good. They are not.
No, they don't do anything good, and
they're crazy.
Emotional terrorists.
Yeah.
And they're fucking animal murderers. And if you value your pets at all, don't fucking have anything to do with PETA.
Yeah. And just remember, all pet owners that support PETA, you should know this right now. PETA doesn't want people to own pets.
Yeah.
Okay,
They're the people. You're the people that they hate.
If you own a pet and support PETA, you're a hypocrite.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, most of the people, even the head of PETA is a hypocrite. Because the head of PETA is a woman that has diabetes that uses insulin that was created by research on dogs.
Mm-hmm. Now, what's funny, the thing is the one thing I don't respect about PETA is...
One thing?
Well, there's a lot of things, but one of them is the people who are trying, like, let's say, someone who's a vegan, right? But not by choice. It's not, or who's by choice, but they don't really support PETA whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Like, I know one of the, it was again, it goes back to my wrestling thing. It's a vegan wrestler, but he had to be vegan because of like something wrong with his enzymes with his liver.
Yeah, it was a health
But
issue.
the way they put it, and I read this on the site, and I was like mind blown. I was like, basically, they kept telling him he was like a animal advocate and everything, but he just did it because
he would die otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a.
Oh,
they
sure
did
this. He's thinking, I want bacon. bacon.
They did the same thing with Chaos.
Yeah.
They did the same thing with Chaos. Chaos doesn't eat meat or anything because of what he believes in, not because of PETA. He does not believe in PETA whatsoever.
Yeah.
Speaking of vegetarians and vegans, just as a side note, the Dalai Lama.
Yeah.
What is his diet? What would you say? What would you say he is? The head of the Buddhists. What would you say?
Well, he's Buddhist. He has to eat mostly vegetarian.
Nope, he's not a vegetarian.
No.
Every other day he will eat meat. His thing is, I am a Buddhist monk. I am not a vegetarian.
Yeah. Mm.
It's a Zen Buddhist thing that just because it is your way of life, it does not need to be the way of your diet.
Yeah.
We're still humans. We're still omnivores.
I can support that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Dalai Lama's been a good guy for like ages
you
now.
You can't argue with the Dalai
Yes,
Lama.
ages indeed, Mark.
You can't really.
I wouldn't argue with the guy.
It's hard to.
He's too nice.
Happy.
I don't think I've ever seen a picture of him where he's upset.
I want to see like Photoshop pictures of the Dalai Lama like road rage stuck in traffic.
Oh, someone's blog. There's a blog.
I really hope with his Twitter account that he's the one actually updating it, because some of the stuff that's posted, because this is the official one, like even Twitter official with everything, because some of the stuff that's posted on there is just freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really hope he's there. The actually one doing it.
But yeah, I mean, back to PETA, the whole Pokemon thing.
And of course, the thing that we haven't yet mentioned is the irony of it, the fact that they know absolutely nothing about the games by simple proof that they are not freaking aware that Team Plasma is a huge shot at them.
Now what's funny is Pokemon striked first.
Yeah. Preemptive strike, and PETA is not even fucking aware.
Satoshi probably was like, PETA, I will get them first before they get me.
See, this was their first big campaign, but I'm sure PETA's been shit-talking Pokemon for years.
Nope.
No. The thing...
PETA is the one crazy groups that has not until recently said anything about Pokemon. Only recently, finally.
Wow.
Yeah.
They actually went after Mario in the Tanuki suit before they went after Pokemon.
Yeah.
Fucktards.
Yeah. They go after Pokemon after Pokemon goes after them first with Team Plasma.
Now, see, I have no again, I have to reiterate this, just in case people don't understand. I have no problem with like animal rights advocacy if it's in a sane, like, you know, a sane reason. But PETA is something I don't like
support.
Not support, but like I disdain because of their practices and what they're trying to, and the way that they do things.
Not only that, but you know what some of their goals are, right? If you hear some of their speeches at their PETA rallies, which are just as bad as KKK rallies, in my opinion. Some of their goals are that they want animals to have the same rights as humans, i.e., the right to vote included.
Yep, the right to own property.
Yeah.
Okay. Before
the right to a fair trial.
No. Here's why I call, and they've proven this now, the most insane part of what they're speaking about. Now, their whole thing was can't eat animals because animals have feelings, right? Okay. They've proven that plants may have feelings now. The fact that I seen this little thing, I think it was on Weird or What, and basically they never touched this plant, right? Mm-hmm. They hooked it up to like I think it's some sort of circuitry or
an EEG.
Yeah. Basically, they were going to cut the leaf of this plant. Before they cut the leaf, there's a spike that indicates there's either some sort of fear or like
sense of danger.
Yeah, sense of danger. Just before you cut into it.
God damn.
So, if that means plants have feelings, we shouldn't be eating plants as well?
It means we're dicks, man. Imagine all the grass we walk on.
If you're going to use the whole feelings like concept and you see that, try to argue with me that I'm not right.
The little kid that goes outside and plays Godzilla is actually accomplishing things. That's fucked up.
The whole living things and the whole feelings thing that they're going on about, try eating nothing. Try not rubbing your skin without touching any, like, microorganism that's on your body. Mm-hmm. Just stay still then.
And go die.
Actually, no. You can't stay still because you're breathing.
Yeah, you're taking oxygen away from the other living things.
Not just that, it's still microorganisms, but yeah.
Yeah.
Explain to me then.
Even your goddamn saliva.
I know.
If you swallow your saliva and gets down to stomach acid kills the microbes in the fucking saliva.
Okay, so, again, explain to me the whole feelings thing after what I just said. And I'm pretty sure if anyone does listen and tries to argue with me about this, try it. But first, think about it. Think about it.
I would say think about the fact that for thousands upon thousands of years since the freaking birth of man has eaten meat. You know why? Because meat is what makes you strong. Meat gives you protein. Meat gives you nutrients that other foods cannot give you in the same quantities.
Mm-hmm.
And the same forms as well. Yeah, I'm not getting vitamin B12 from like from a potato. I'm getting the best form of vitamin B12 is through another, like, a flesh.
Yeah.
A type of flesh.
Yeah. No, I mean, just go by the simple fact of survival of the fittest.
You can't make...
Evolution, simple as that, is done by the species that does the best it can to survive. If humanity continued to be vegetarians from the get-go, we wouldn't be here.
There'd be a lot of animal population issues with that.
Well, that, and if we were vegetarians, we would have been prey.
Yeah, that's true, too. And we would have given the predators more energy.
Yeah. We would have been prey. Prey are vegetarians. Humanity has and always will be a predator. The way we've evolved, the way we are shaped, humanity has evolved to be a predator.
No, I say omnivore, but, you know, because you still have the molars in the back for grinding and...
Well, predator is not necessarily mutually inclusive with carnivore.
Yeah, predator doesn't mean carnivore.
Yeah, I get it.
Predator just means we are made to go after other creatures. We are built that way.
Yeah.
Definitely omnivore.
There are very few creatures actually out there that are straight up carnivores anyways.
Mm-hmm. Well, because they're developed for it.
Well, that and very few carnivores are still around, because omnivore is also important, because vegetables are still important as well.
Yeah.
Yes, a lot of species have had to adapt to be more omnivorous, because if you look at a lot of the wild cat family, their cats are technically carnivore.
Yeah.
But they have to adjust because,
they're technically carnivore, but no matter what, for a lot of animals, just cats itself, like cats and dogs.
Domesticated are different.
No, but what I'm trying to finish here is that vets will recommend like things like grass and stuff for your pets. Like even pet shops sell this grass that your pets can eat.
Yes, but
because they still need roughage.
Yeah, that's the thing, is they'll recommend this stuff to help clear out their system. It's not so much for the fact of eating it for its nutrients and its energy.
No, but it's still a roughage, and that's partially for... That still counts towards omnivorous, though. Because it's still part of your diet because it helps you digest.
I suppose.
Even sharks.
They'll eat a plankton or two.
Plankton, and technically algae is still on the line between plant and animal.
Yeah. Again, but we're divulging from the fact again. The whole, again, PETA just, I don't, just...
PETA, just stick to what you're good with. Get girls naked.
Then there's the misogynistic view of everything again.
Yeah, I was being ironic there.
Yeah, I know, but, people get comments and just, take things the wrong way.
I know, but honestly, when you think of PETA's ad campaigns, you think they use naked women.
The way they're using it is just, we're going again back to this topic. They're trying to get the male viewers now, like the male, not the male, the male demographic with that. I mean,
yeah, they're pretty degrading with the women, but the women are totally for it because they think they're doing something right.
Well, they're not.
No. Supporting PETA,
not even to name names. I still remember a couple girls in our high school that walked around with PETA pins on their bags. If it weren't for the fact that I probably would have gotten suspended for talking to them the way I wanted to, I would have gotten off on them on how stupid they were for supporting these people.
Now see, here again, I respect anyone who tries to be a vegetarian because it's the hardest thing ever to do.
I could never be a vegetarian.
Especially a vegan. You have to have the discipline for that, not to mention the hard work for that.
And the wallet in some cases.
Yeah. I respect someone who tries to be a vegetarian based on like either the beliefs or based on their health. But I can't respect anyone, and Harvey said this many of times, I can't respect anyone who tries to force those beliefs onto someone else. Whether it be psychologically or just, maliciously.
Yeah, it's fucking bullying.
Hint, this can apply to religion as well.
Yeah, it can apply to a hell of a lot of things. Religion is definitely...
But we gotta... Matt, we're focusing on one thing here.
Yes. Yeah, but technically, if you really think about it, the way PETA acts and treats its supporters and everything, it presents itself like its own cult/religion.
Yes.
Oh, well, I don't deny it. I don't deny it. It is a cult.
That's why when in Pokemon you have Team Plasma, they're dressed like Knights Templar.
Yeah.
But apart from
I think that was a
bit of a kick out.
I think that's a good idea for it too. I mean, they had the right ideas for it too.
Yeah, they combined two.
They went all out.
Huge things with that. They did a real fuck you.
Satoshi was a genius.
Yeah, that was well played.
I mean, he was just like, I've heard of this Knights Templar. I've also heard of this PETA. Let us combine the two and make it a whole new Pokemon organization.
He's like, you know what? I've heard about these Catholic Church people, and they're shitting on the thing I made. And I've heard about these PETA people, and they take the idea of what I'm doing and pretty much shit on it without coming out and saying it. So, let's have the kids fight against these things and love our stuff even more.
All I wanted to do was just show the joys of collecting.
Yeah.
and loving the things you catch.
Except for herpes. You cannot love herpes.
How do you have a herpes battle?
Well, you got one virus and you attack it.
Well, no. You find someone that doesn't have herpes and you kiss them while your infection is showing.
Speaking of which, I found a whole new fun app.
Herpes.
I found a whole fun new app with the whole disease thing. It's called Plague Inc. You just gotta try it. It's fun.
Okay.
Lawsuits only happen in the way you're thinking of, like, for STDs and stuff.
Yeah.
Only happen if you do not disclose that you have it.
Yes, if you don't disclose that you have it, but if you're doing this to the person against their will, I'm pretty sure that's the ones.
Yeah, but it doesn't count with herpes because that one is you see it on the person, and herpes is one of those things where it's so widely spread that there's no way you could argue about it.
No, because you can have either a straight up cold sore or a herpes cold sore, and if you're not disclosing to the person that you might have this and they contract it, then you're fucked.
Yeah, but the herpes cold sore and a regular cold sore work the same way.
Yes, but one is dormant and one is not.
Actually, herpes cold sores can also go dormant.
I mean, activate. Oh, yeah. Yes, but
they just take a bit of stronger medicine than regular cold sores.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, that's completely off topic.
Yes.
Damn it! You guys stopped before I could even do anything.
No.
I was about to get a Pokemon soundboard and just play Pikachu angry.
No.
You guys are assholes.
But yeah, so that was an interesting big time segue, but we had to address it because if we did not, yeah. Now, in conclusion, PETA just don't. Just give up.
Yeah. PETA,
if you're gonna do anything,
you're 16 years too late to go after Pokemon anyways. Everyone else has ridden the attack Pokemon bandwagon. They've gotten off.
Yeah. Do yourselves a favor and give Nintendo some money. Some of your fucking illegitimately, terribly gained money. And play through the goddamn game and understand what you're attacking. And then try to...
Yeah. See?
Yeah.
You're very angry. He don't like you.
But yeah, no, I mean... That's the thing I hate about these fanatical organizations. Be it religious, be it something like PETA or whatever... 99.9% of the time, the stuff that they are attacking, they know squat about.
Yeah. People being openly militant about things leave themselves open to mass ridicule, as far as I'm concerned. And I will fully judge you and I'll fully make fun of you, because fuck you, you militant assholes.
And I have to say this about militant, because it's a great segue. I know we don't normally talk about politics here, but I gotta say this, because Harvey mentioned military.
Oh, are you gonna go
Monday's
to
debate.
The boat thing?
That was the best comeback Obama ever had.
Ah, the boat thing.
Did you know about it, Harp?
No.
So, one of the things about the debate, they were talking about the Navy, and Romney went with Obama, you're not as strong on military as you should be. We don't have as many boats as we did in 1916.
Oh, jeez.
Obama's response? Yeah, have you heard of these things called aircraft carriers? They're big, they're huge, they're powerful. You, Mr. Romney, must still be thinking we use bayonets and rifles.
And go on horseback.
Oh, may I say, snap.
You know, like, he made a fool of him big time. It's hard to find a moment where a politician has looked dumber on TV other than the sex stuff that some of the Republicans are talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But I just had to get that in there because props to Obama for just bringing it.
Vote not Romney 2013. Isn't it next year?
This year, November 11th.
Oh, okay. 2012. My fuck up.
You're forgiven. You're not American.
I am. I just don't live there.
I also heard that
partially
in 2016, Jeb Bush wants to run. Yeah.
I'm not sure how I feel about that because he's far more charismatic and smarter than his brother. but at the same time, he's a Republican.
No, he's still a Bush. He's still kind of, you know.
No.
They're not like their dad.
No.
They're not like their dad.
No. Jeb Bush, if you have seen him, compared to his brother and his father, you could swear this person was adopted.
But there's also the thing about him being helping his brother in Florida.
Well, that's the thing, though. Like, Jeb Bush, if he wasn't a Republican, would be a hell of a guy. But because he's a Republican, no. Just no.
Problems.
Yeah. But anyway, that about wraps things up here.
Yeah, so if you haven't checked it out, pick up Pokemon Black or White too. Personally, I'll go for White too, because I know a lot of people that have Black. So let's spread some diversity in our versions.
You don't like that you're being racist.
How is that being racist?
I'm not being racist. I think you're being a little racist for drawing racist connotations.
But that goes back to a lot of podcasts back again. I just wanted to segue back into that.
Let's not go there. But yeah, thank you for listening, and we shall be back as soon as possible, and hopefully our uploading will be a lot faster eventually. Till then,
keep out of the tall grass.